Hey, welcome to day 46. We are in Numbers chapter 7. And today it seems like there wouldn't be that much to talk about, and I'll keep it short, but I wanted to point out something kind of cool. When you're reading something like this, it just seems like it's just going on and on, it's just repeating itself. One thing you should do, you should look to see if it's exact. You should look to see if there's any differences at all, and then you should ask, well, what was the purpose? Just information, or is there something else there? And I'm not alluding that there's something else there, but I do want to talk about something that it's compared to. So we have all these things that the 12 tribes of Israel are giving, and these are the offerings, the dedication offering. So I wrote down all the different offerings there were, and I think it's important to note there are different kinds of offerings. Dedication offering, the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the peace offering. And then we end with God and Moses speaking, and God speaking to Moses in a special way. So something neat to watch there. Now, what is the special part? So we wrap it all up in the end as one paragraph, which I think they could have done that, but it was nice that they showed what everybody gave. Just happened to be the exact same thing. In verse 87 of chapter 7, 12 young bulls, 12 rams, and 12 one-year-old male lambs were donated for the burnt offering. Okay. Along with their prescribed grain offerings. Interesting, no big deal. And then the very next sentence, 12 male goats were brought for the sin offering. Why goats? What's the big deal with goats? But in all of these, the goat was used for the sin offering. We go to, and this is not mentioned in the study Bible, but I just wanted to point it out to you. I'm not inferring anything, I'm just going to point this out to you. In Matthew 25, one of my favorite chapters is Matthew 24. What a wonderful thing to look at. We'll get to that eventually, but just something I want to share with you. Matthew 24 is a great chapter to deal with if you're talking about eschatology, end times events. So the goats. Matthew 25, verse 32. Let's just read from 31. But when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, that's important. The Son of Man comes and all his angels. Then he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered in his presence. And he will separate the people as a shepherd separates sheep from the goats. You have all these, you got the young bulls, the rams, and the 12 one-year-old male lambs for the burnt offering, and you have the goats for the sin offering. He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. In Revelation 20, in the very end, the final judgment, Revelation 20, verse 11, and so on. And I saw a great white throne and the one sitting on it. The earth and sky fled from his presence, but they found no place to hide. I saw the dead, both great and small, standing before God's throne, and the books were opened, including the book of life. And the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. Sea gave up its dead, the death and the grave gave up their dead, and all were judged according to their deeds. Then death and the grave were thrown into the lake of fire. This lake of fire is the second death, and anyone whose name was not found recorded in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. So we'll get to Revelation, but in there it mentioned the book of life, so you have your list of books. Book of life is one of them. There's 2 references to it right there. But I wanted to mention that sin leads to death. Death is going to be thrown into the lake of fire. Death is a place. It's going to have all the people who have died before and after throughout history, and sin represents the death, and the people who are separated by God, the sheep and the goats, the good people, the bad people, the people who have found Christ, the people who turn their backs on Christ, those people will be thrown into the lake of fire. So it's interesting to see that right off the bat, in the very beginning, that goats are used to symbolize a sin offering. So offering for their sins, I should say. So that is day 46, and we'll see you tomorrow.